For those who don't know me personally, my name is CORY. I'm an artist and filmmaker, and I live in Caledon. And we are right now on 16662 the Gore Road. I thought I'd start our little tour outside, seeing as we've got some nice weather. Normally, at this time of year, we'd be open about once a month to the public and give people personal tours. And so thanks to technology, as we are now closed, it's nice to be able to try doing something this way for you folks. We'll get away from the car noise shortly, but I thought I'd start here at the end of the driveway because it is, after all, the beginning of the tour. Now, there are some other ideas I have. I'm going to give a bit of a tour. I'm actually going to get into some painting as well. And of course, I'll be watching for your questions as we go along. And usually on a tour, we open our gallery, which is back here. That is our home, but we also use it as a gallery. And then further back, the barn. And there's only certain things we show. So what I'm going to show you guys on this sort of more intimate private tour is some things that the public never gets to see. So we'll see if that's how that goes. So let me start with saying thank you for coming. I hope everyone is managing well through these very challenging times of isolation and other things that are going on. I hope you're finding good spirits in creativity and in friends and family. And hopefully this might offer a little bit of a break from all of that as well. So over here, this is our home. I've been here about 26 years. And when I first started to take fine art seriously and want to make a career out of it, we put this sign up, which I know is backwards, but here, just for those who really want to see how that works, it is actually, I can fix that for you temporarily, and there we go. Now you can read the sign. So we put this sign out to sort of make it serious, that I'm serious about art, and we started using our space to share it. Well, there's a story behind the sign. And if you look closely at it, I'm going to switch this around so you can see other stuff instead of me right now. And I'll kick that out of there, and that out of there. And there we go. All right, so we're going to switch this around. Sorry, I'm getting all the technical stuff figured out as we go here. So the sign. The sign, actually, I'll make a quick little story out of it because everything's got a purpose behind it. You see there's a cutout trees and there's a campfire, and my intention was to create a sense of outdoors and wilderness with this sign. And it came out of an experience I had in Killarney Provincial Park when I was out camping for a few days with a buddy of mine. And late one night, while sleeping at the tent and the moon rising, with a campfire going, that whole experience of just enjoying the solitude of the campfire out there in the wilderness and looking up and seeing the silhouette of the trees surrounding me, that sort of became my emblem. So back in 1997, when we designed and put this sign up, it took in some of those elements, and that's why we have that. So we'll get moving away from the road, but before I do, one more thing. And some of you are familiar with the Great Trail. Well, I'm very pleased to help promote the Great Trail as a champion of the trail. And down there, about 1.5 kilometers, and I don't know if you can see it right, well, you can't see it because the tree's in the way, is access to the Great Trail, which is pretty awesome. It's a really close access. I bike to it often, and Janet's always walking on it, and it gives us a great opportunity to get exercise and get around town. So that is a little bit about the end of our place. All right, let's get mobile here. Please forgive me if the camera moves a lot. I'm not one for just having the camera sit still. So I'm going to do my best to not go too crazy with it. But let's go for a walk. All right. So where's everybody coming in from anyhow? I see people I'm familiar with. If you guys are, if you can maybe just list your country or city where you are, that'd be really cool to see. It's something very different than doing a live tour. So this is, as I mentioned, our home for 27 years. We have 2 daughters who are now 21 and 25. It's been a beautiful place to be able to raise them and to be creative as well, surrounded by nature, which is wonderful. So when you come in the driveway, we have our parking lot. Not very exciting. It was a field. We cut it and it turned into a parking lot. We have our gallery over here, which, as I mentioned, is our home. Now, I don't have that open today right now. You know, we're kind of closed, but maybe if I do another one of these, we can take you inside for a tour. But for those artists out there, so you know, this is our home and our gallery, and we are only open once a month, so it doesn't make sense to have a dedicated gallery space. However, it's kind of fun too. The girls have often told me that they feel like they've grown up in a gallery. So we do manage it, and fortunately I have an amazing wife, who's Janet, who's willing to share her home with the public every once in a while, which is beautiful. Oh, sorry you're not getting any video, Sterling. Is everybody, maybe just give me a quick thumbs up. Are you guys getting the video okay? And the audio? So I'll make sure this is working technically. Orangeville, way over there. So, studio number 1. This little building here is now our office. Oh, our sign to the barn studio. We'll go there afterwards. But I thought I'd start with the first studio. And the first studio is over here. Living room into a gallery. Yes, I'll get into more detail when I maybe do a future post about that. But essentially, we just move the couch from one room to the other and it becomes a gallery. Kind of like that. Otherwise, we live in it. So this old building here, these trees didn't exist when we moved here. We planted them as little wee things, and they kind of grew up over the last 20 years. But this old building was my first studio when we first moved in here. It's a really neat place. We'll just peek inside here. It's about 15 feet by 20 feet, and it was a great space for 20 years. There was actually a couple of old ladies who lived in here, and one of them was a weaver, and one of them was a potter. And the old pottery wheel was actually in here. And so now, oh, there's a painting from the girls, our daughters when they were little, my wife. So now it's turned into a really useful space as our office. We have our desks here. We have our assistant come in once in a while, our studio manager, Lindsay, who's not in here right now. It's a great space, but as a studio, a fun little thing that you don't see here is that I once worked on a painting that was 7.5 feet high by 5.5 feet wide. And the fun part about that was there wasn't a room enough to really do much here. So I cut a hole in the ceiling, as you can see. Oh, sorry for the bouncing there. So that I could elevate the painting into the ceiling and still reach the bottom of the painting without having to crawl on the floor. So that was fun. But now it's become a great space here. And we do have something. Oh, thank you for the audio note in mono. So we got a little book rack here, and some of you may have noticed this little guy here. And I'm very excited that by sometime at the end of this year, this book will actually be available and out. Well, it's available now, I guess, for pre-sale, but it'll actually be out. This is just a mock-up, but that's coming along. And some of the paintings I'm finishing in the studio are going to go in there. So this is this space with a lovely view, surrounded by, oh, lost audio. All right, can you hear me now? There we go. Check, check. Should be working. All right, let's get out of the studio here. Hey, St. Mary's. Oh. Okay, back outside. This is our dog pen for Yukon Jack, who's turning 14 this summer. And I had a good chat with him. And it looks like he may try to join us after all. So stay tuned for Yukon. Hopefully he'll make an appearance later on. Okay, now we got another little studio here. This is a pretty awesome little spot. And this is our daughter Andy's music studio. And actually, it was a kid's playhouse initially that we built when the girls were little. And then it turned into a guest house. It's got a little bunkie in there. And then, over time, Andy started using it for music. That's our 25-year-old daughter, who's an incredible musician. But also, more recently, as of a couple years ago, has turned it into her own place of business, Hush Club Studio. You got to look her up. It's supposed to be a secret, so I can't really tell you what it's all about. But essentially, it's her tattoo shop. Incredible artist she is. And it's a great spot in there. So, cute little place there. There we go. Hey, James. Yeah, nice to see you here. Thank you. Now we'll carry on towards the barn. Now, half the time, I will just bike to the barn to save myself a couple of minutes of walking because I do it 10, 12 times a day. but we'll just walk it this time. So this old barn, it became my studio when I decided to do that 15-foot Great Glacier painting. I was as great as the other space was as a studio for 20 years. It really came to be a problem when I want to stretch such a big canvas. And so I decided to move into the barn, basically. Give Janet a little more privacy. And this has been sort of my daily walk or bike ride every day. Paul, I think, yeah, you're the fellow who actually did the work on the roof of this barn when we first renovated it. Put the skylight in. Thank you. And as we come around the corner, a little arrow so I don't lose my way, we make our way over to the barn studio. So this is an old barn that we started to renovate. So let me just set the tripod down and give you a little view around here. Started renovating for the purpose of the 15-foot painting, and it's been a process over many, many years. It initially started for the first 5 years, as a space that was uninsulated. And so any paintings I was doing in here had to be taken out every October, November, and put into storage somewhere else. That includes that 15-foot painting. So for 5 or 6 winters, we took that big painting across the road to our neighbor's basement. We took it all kinds of places. And then eventually we finally decided with the tour, our Into the Arctic exhibition tour, that we would do things right. So we insulated the space and we finished it all off so that now it is actually a fully year-round space. The barn, I'm guessing about 100 years old, something like that, the older. The house itself is about 1878, I think. Oh, low power already on my phone. We're going to have to get inside. It doesn't like this cool weather, and plug it in. All right, so let's get in there before I lose power. So here we go into the barn. Oh, tripod. There we go. All right. So here's our barn space. It's kind of divided into 3 spaces. This is kind of a show space with a number of reproductions of some of my works that are currently on tour. There is a space at the back for editing, and you'll see another corner back there. And then we actually have in here the working studio space. And I'll get into some more details. I know people were asking about my gear and everything else and the setup and the lighting. So I'll just do a quick overview here and see how things are in the studio. Keep works in progress down here. And the occasional big piece here too. There we go. So this is just a super quick overview. Let me get the camera down and do some proper introduction here to what we have, okay? And I'm also going to get my charger because this old camera seems to be not playing nice, so I don't want to die. There we go. Don't want to die on you guys, so let me just grab my charger. Sorry, guys. I figured I'd get at least 20 minutes out of my battery. I'm going to have to get a new phone if I do this more often. There we go. Here we go. Shoot. It says it's reporting a problem. Shoot. Hey guys, I don't know what's going on with my things here. Did it die? There we go. My apologies. Are we guys still getting me here? Because my video all turned sideways on me for some reason. Coming down. Thank you guys. Hey Annetta. Yeah, I'm going to slow things down now that I'm in here. I just didn't want my battery to die. And let me see here. All right, can you guys tell me if you're still, you're still here? Okay, everything's good? Still getting horizontal video? Because mine's all sideways now, so I can't really see what I'm getting. Very odd. All right, so it's going to be a bit of a stab in the dark here with this camera shooting sideways. So keep me on track, please, if you don't mind. All right. Okay, so, oh, this is odd. Hey, thanks guys. Right way up, all good. All right, well this is going to be a little interesting because I'm seeing it all sideways, so we'll just make do with it the best we can. Okay, so if you can see me okay, here we go. So this space, as I mentioned, is a bit of a show space. We want to present some of the reproductions in here because frankly, we didn't have enough room in the gallery itself to do this. So we have additional pieces here. One of the things I particularly enjoy sharing with people is this huge map of Canada. And this map of Canada really helps me to connect people with the places that I paint. And the way I've done that is through little versions of the paintings all over the maps themselves. So you can see some of them here as we go along. And the little arrows showing their actual locations. So I don't know if you know, I'm a member of the Royal Canadian Geographical Society, and one of the things that I've always relished is having my work connect to people to actual real places that that I've been exploring and painting and bring it to life. So that's the map. What's also very cool is when you start down here on the map, somewhere over here is where we are. And then, of course, to give a sense of the scale of everything, one can sort of get a sense of the north way up there. And to get up to that northern part of Canada, we're looking at 3 flights over 3 days, each flight about 3 hours each. So it's been a pretty awesome way to portray that through this map. Hey Sharon, nice to see you here. Sorry guys, for those just joining us, thank you for coming. I had a bit of a technical issue that I'm trying to deal with. All my videos sideways, so I don't know exactly what I'm pointing at, but I understand it's okay for you guys. So we're going to make the most of this. Thank you so much for coming out. I'm Corey. This is, as you can tell, my first time doing one of these live video things. But there's the map. So over here, we have the edit suite. And this is where I kind of finish off the films. I do work with another editor on my films in recent years, but I like to be hands-on. And for those who are techie, this could become something down the road. It could be a whole separate sort of live feed, I suppose, if there's enough interest. But this is where I do the editing. And come on, come to life. There we go. Okay, see. Anyway, I'm going to show you now. I use Final Cut Pro. Has been the editing software of choice. Let's see here. So I got to turn my head to see all your comments now too. So, oh wow, fun. Okay, so over this way, and we have, of course, our theater. Now, the theater, when we're open, we play short films, and we give people a little taste of some of the travels. It's also wonderful for our own, of course, times when we want to watch a movie. So what I have playing in the background here is actually one of my favorite films. So I thought I'd take a stab. I'll let it run for a second to see if anybody can guess what it is. Look familiar at all to anybody? It's in my top 10 for sure. It's one of the most amazing films that I've seen in a long time. So this is, what do I do to relax? Well, I climb into the chairs every once in a while. There's about 6 chairs in here, and kick on a movie occasionally. I sleep. That's a great way to relax when I can, occasionally too. So, well, if anybody hasn't guessed it, I don't see any guesses coming up here. If they reckon, hey, there we go. Yes, Mark, you win. You got it. That is Arrival indeed. A very smart sci-fi movie and beautifully shot. And one of the things in the last number of years that I've really enjoyed about watching really quality films is how much I could learn for my own filmmaking. The subjects may be different, but cinematography and lighting and composition and movement and story are all common elements, whether it's a documentary or a feature film. And so I watch films with with an eye to learning as much as I can. What powers the theater is this old thing down here. Now, if any of you have been in a barn before, you may be familiar with what this is. This guy here is the old hay loft, or hay door, whatever you call it. You kick the door in and throw the hay downstairs. Well, we've decided for the techies who are watching to turn this into our media cabinet. which powers up the screen next door. So lots of fun little gadgets here. All right. So I put my paintbrushes down for about a month and a half when we began the renovations of this space a few years ago, and did all the walls, and it was a major project for us, but in the end it's given me the space I need to be creative, and there's always some beautiful wood smelling too, which is great. Okay, so we're gonna get back into here, and I'm just gonna do something. Hang tight with me for 1 second. I'm gonna see if I can fix something here. Let's see here. And it's not going to work. No, just thought I'd check if that would work for me. Sorry, guys. Oh, what happened? There we go. Now it won't go away. Okay, we're back to sideways video again. For those who are watching, I'm seeing all your text sideways on my screen. Not sure what's going on, so I'm just doing the best, shooting a bit blind here. So books, of course. Books are fantastic, and these are some of my favorite art books are in through this shelf. You know, it's at some point, if you do another one of these and the phone is working right, then maybe I could run through some of these and pull out some of my favorite paintings for those who are interested. Some who have been some of the greatest inspirations. Off the top of my head, though, this fella here, Thomas Moran, he ranks up there very high as far as works that have really inspired me. His works of the Western United States have been really spectacular. Back in the late 1800s. And of course, let me make that here with one hand, Ansel Adams, incredible photographer. And what I love about Ansel Adams' work in particular is not only the work itself, but how his work inspired so many people to protect the areas that he portrayed in his photography. And so that was really inspirational to me. As mentioned, I got a big painting here. Oh, you know what? I'm going to put some lights on in here because we only have a couple. I'm going to grab my tripod. Thank you to my brother, Carl, and my brother-in-law, Jerry, for light switches and all these other things. There we go. We got a bit of light going on. Grab my tripod back over here, my charger, and put this back in so it's less shaky for you guys. All right. Now we're going to walk back through. For those also interesting, note, to heat this barn, everything is this one heater right there. That is a very high efficiency, propane furnace. And that does the whole space just wonderfully. Very high, very fuel efficient, and does, I don't know how many square feet this is, but does a nice job. All right. So, and of course we got some big pieces over here. So this guy here is on the go. I noticed. So here we go. This is Asgard. This is in progress, and this is one of the major pieces that I started earlier this year. And it won't be done for many months because I've got a lot of other works to get underway. But it's always nice to have a really big piece on the go, something that I can look to while I'm working on smaller pieces that can just keep me motivated to come back to it later on. The place itself was so inspiring, and there's a whole process when it comes to deciding to paint something like this. I know, Mark, you had asked some questions about that, which I can get into later on. But there we go. Yes, Aunt Lucille, dizzy. I'm going to leave it on the tripod a little bit more. Sorry about that. Technical fun stuff. So the space here was designed, as you can see, as my studio and I had a few things in mind. One is I wanted a high enough ceiling for large works in case I go vertical. And then, of course, enough room to back up. And you'll see I have a mirror over here too. So the mirror is something that I saw Robert Bateman use back when I was a teenager in a documentary. And it was a really wonderful tool to be able to see your work in reverse and to see it as though you've gotten up and walked way back from it. So that's one of the useful things about the mirror. It's not that I'm so vain that I need to see myself while I'm painting. Down below the mirror are works in progress from the field. And some of these are from the recent trip I did to Greenland last year and the Arctic the year before. They're from all over. And I have a couple of finished pieces here which I'll come in on a little closer and just let it sit for a sec so you can see. And oh my, this is awful the way this is working right now. There we go. You know, Here's a quick question. I need everybody's help here for a second, if you don't mind. This is really difficult because I'm seeing everything sideways and I can't really turn my head sideways. If I were to finish this live and start it right up again, would you guys be game to rejoin me? I'm so sorry. I didn't want to have to cut the stream right like this right now, but it's really awkward and very difficult. So please let me know before I do that, because I'll just finish it and start